Well, shemai, my little lovely jubblies. I thought I'd do a little bit of crafting today, and I wonder if you can guess what I'm going to make. I'll give you a quick idea of what it is, a quick clue. I'm just going to show you a shape I've drawn on the back. What do you think it could be? We're actually going to make a pumpkin because we are now in autumn, and Halloween is at the end of October. Today is the 2nd of October, and I know that in school my children will love doing lots and lots of autumn crafting. So let me show you what we need. I've just used some offcuts of card or paper. Can you see? Now Mrs. Richards loves doing quite a bit of crafting, so I have got lots of card around my house. Well, not around my house, in my craft room. And that's all you need then is some pencils. Now I've gone for autumn colours. This one is not going to be for my pumpkin. That's going to be for the leaf at the top. So I've got yellow, red and 2 different colour browns. Then I've also got this is paper that I've had for a different project. So I'm going to use some of those as well. And all I've got then is a piece of orange card. Now I've done some of this ready because otherwise it would take me a very, very long time. So here's some I did earlier. And that's all I've done is use my pencils to make different patterns. Now as you can see, I haven't taken ages doing this. And we're going to cut these then into strips and we're going to lay them on our card. Now, as you can see, I've drawn the pumpkin on the back of my card because otherwise when you stick it all down, you're not going to be able to see the shape of your pumpkin. So I'm not going to worry about the back yet. And I'm not going to be all that precise, which means I'm not going to use a ruler. I'm not going to use my ruler and draw lines. I'm just going to cut my pumpkin into strips. So I'm going to cut some strips. There we go. So they're not all going to be the same thickness because I'm not that great at cutting freehand everything exactly the same. So I'm going to use some then like that size, and then I'm going to turn the other one around so we have different patterns. Then I'm going to cut these ones up. So this is a nice easy one that you don't need many craft items for. You just need a couple of pencils. And lots of us have got pencils in our house, haven't we? And because I got a bit of the brown over the wrong side. There we are, there's a bit of a swirly pattern. And that's all I'm going to do then is fit these in. I'm going to mix them all around a little bit. So you don't want them all the same. And then I'm going to do some more. As you can see, there's something sticky on my craft mat. So I've got some different textures in my pumpkin. Now at the moment, it looks nothing like a pumpkin, does it? Nothing at all like a pumpkin. But with lots and lots of craft projects, you won't know what it's going to turn out like until you've actually finished. There we go. Then I'm going to use some of these. So I've just got some orange. You could do zigzag patterns, any different patterns you can think of. There we are. Now this one's a bit shorter, so I'm thinking now that might have to go on that side. Now these, you could overlap them if you wanted to. I'm thinking some of these might be a bit too thick, so I'm going to just give them a bit of a haircut. Like that. I'm just going to trim them down slightly, otherwise I'm not going to get many patterns on this. So you'll need to do quite skinny strips really. There we go. And then if you wanted to, you could even put a bit of wool or a bit of string through it and you could hang it, couldn't you? There we are. Now I'm going to try now. I'm going to cut this yellow zigzag one out. Here he is. Now if you wanted to, if you had lots of different pattern papers, you could do it that way. There we go. So the other thing you're going to need, what do you think you're going to need? It's a little bit of glue. Here we are. I'm going to start sticking these down now. So I'm just going to put the glue on the back. and stick them all down. Now at the moment it's a lovely autumn day out there. We had some dreadful rain the other day when we were in school, but today is a nice bright day. My hun haelog heddiw. There we go. So I might leave a little, that's it, just sort of overlap them slightly. Or if you wanted to, if you had less patterns, you could leave a little bit of a gap. So you could see a little bit of the orange card poking through. Like that. And the nice thing about this sort of thing is that nobody else's is going to be exactly the same, isn't it? It's all going to be totally unique, just like you. There we go. Oops, I've got glue everywhere then. I'm awfully messy with glue. So I'm going to put this, I'm just going to turn over to see where the end of my pumpkin is. So I think it's about here. I'm going to put that there. And I might put this one over here then. I might need to cut some more of my other ones just in case. But you don't want any bare part on our pumpkins, do we? So can you see I got a little bit of a gap there? That is absolutely fine. I'll just see if I can move it. My glue sticks pretty quickly, I must be honest. You don't have second chances with this glue. There we go. Then that one there. Then I'm going to see how I'm looking on the back. Let's have a look. I'm going to turn it over and see where I am. Ooh, now I'm going to need some more strips there. That one is fine. This side I'm going to need to cut another one as well. So I will cut. I think I'm going to cut this dotty one. Now I'm using a really big scissors. I'm thinking some of you might need to use a much smaller scissors. And if you're struggling with the cutting, then either your brother or your sister or your nan or mommy and daddy, let a grown-up help you. If you wanted to, you could even rip the papers and that would give you lots and lots of lovely texture. We love ripping in my class. And ripping things builds up the muscles in your hands and gets your fingers ready to hold that pencil and ready to hold your scissors. There we go. So that at the moment looks just like a pile of strips stuck on a piece of card, isn't it? So now I'm going to turn it over. I hope if it doesn't cover it, that's fine. I could just add a couple of strips to it. So I'm just going to carefully now cut around the outline. And as you can see, it's not the most perfect pumpkin shape, but not all pumpkins are exactly the same shape either, are they? And that's the good thing about crafting. Everyone's will be totally different. There we go. Nearly there now. And then we can see, oh look, I missed that little bit of card off there, so I'll have to just trim that off. So there's my pumpkin. Now as you can see, I've got a little bit of orange left there. Well, that's no problem at all, is it? If I wanted to, I could cut another little bit of this, but that is fine and dandy by me. Now I'm going to use my green pencil. Except Mrs. Richards seems to have lost her green pencil. Now I do this all the time. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to colour a bit of this in. Now if you had green card, you could use that. And all I'm going to do then is I'm going to cut a leaf shape. Now, if you like, instead, you could draw a shape. Tell you what, I'll show you what I mean. Draw a shape on there so you know exactly what you're going to cut out. Sometimes when you're doing things freehand, then the shape gets smaller and smaller and smaller. That's what I tend to do because I think, oh, that's not quite right. I'll cut a bit more off. And then all of a sudden it's totally disappeared. There we are. Now, I think I might do another one. I enjoyed doing that so much. So once again, I'm just colouring over like this. And I'm not taking my time and I'm going quite quickly. You could use felt pens. You could use tissue paper. It's the good thing about crafting, you can use the things you've got around your house. You could use paint. Mrs. Richards is a bit too mucky with paint in her craft room. So I'm now going to use my glue again. I'm just going to put a little bit on the bottom because I wanted to poke off the top of the pumpkin like this. Like that, there we go. Now I don't want it to look like an apple, so I've got to be a bit careful now in case people think I've made a rotten apple instead. Now if you wanted to, you could make him into a jack-o'-lantern and put eyes on him, but I'd like him just to be an autumn pumpkin. So can you remember what we used? We had different autumn colour pencils and then a green one then for the leaf. I had just bits and pieces of white card. You could even use the pieces from a cereal box and just colour them all over. We used a scissors, but you might need to use a smaller one. And we used glue. And then I had a piece of card or something to stick it onto. And there is my pumpkin. So, I'd love to see it. If you do give it a go and you're in school with me, I'd love for you to bring them in to show me. Have a lovely time and I'll see you soon. I'll vow.